Welcome to part 2 of our special Space.com 2025 in retrospect. Today we journey through innovation, culture, creativity, humanitarian impact, and the global stories that shaped our environmental consciousness in 2025. Now, also joining us, like we promised you, is Dr. Michael Oladiji. He is here with us again from last week, and he's here with us again to dissect these topics that we treated in 2025. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we move to technology and the future of spaces. Now, we explored the future of home decor, where Nigerian interior designers blended sustainability with creative balance. We looked ahead at futuristic transportation with Elon Musk's Dubai Loop and imagined what a similar concept could mean for African mobility. Our two-part special on the future of real estate in Africa uncovered how digital tools, prop tech platforms, and new age investment systems are transforming the property market. A journey that also brought home an award. Yes, I got an award last year for Media Personality of the Year, Real Estate Reporter of the Year. A proud moment for our team. Thank you so much. So from futuristic transport to pro-tech, how do you see technology shaping Africa's environmental landscape? Because we've seen what Elon Musk did, the Hyperloop and the Loop now, you know, the underground, which we definitely need something like that in Africa. Lagos especially, it's going to be such an amazing innovation. So we're looking at real estate and tech now. Talk to us.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I'll speak on real estate first. So technology is not just a way of life for us as a people, but technology has come to improve livelihoods, to improve a sense of living. And so last year, 2025, the real estate sector contributed about 13% to the GDP. And when we look at the factors that influence this, massive contribution of the real estate sector to the growth of the Nigerian economy, we realize that a lot in terms of innovation contributed to this. And so, because of what you see happening in the area of real estate, innovation, in terms of conducting searches, in terms of documentation, we are gradually moving from the conventional systems to the unconventional systems of doing things with the aid of technology. And so, collectively, this is helping, to help the growth of that sector. And as of today, real estate stands as the third contributor to our GDP. Aside agriculture and trade. So, for real estate, technology has come to stay. We used to call it emerging technology, but it's no more emerging technology. It has now finally come to stay. And that's why we see that impacting on the GDP of the economy.
And government needs to really invest in that
a
to
lot.
make it,
in terms of innovation.
It needs a lot of investment because the money involved
Absolutely.
is not. I know some private
okay, so most
companies
of
can come into it, but
Yes.
maybe there should be a synergy, a partnership.
Yeah, so
yes.
most of the innovation we see around prop tech is private driven.
Okay.
And so, like you rightly suggested, the government needs to, also invest heavily
Pump money into
in that sector.
sector.
Because real estate is not a sector that you can take with levity. It's a sector that revolves around everyone I mean, people must have a home to stay.
Everything.
You probably, of course, you dressed up from a home before coming down to your studio, and you must return back to a home. You won't go to the bridge, you won't go to the water, except you are mommy water, which you are not. So the real estate is a physiological need for everybody. And so the government needs to put a lot of attention, the government needs to put a lot of interest, and there has to be a lot of investment in that space to probably take that space, that sector, even from third contributor to the GDP to the first, and that should be the goal.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so let's look at people and environment connections. From technology to culture, we next turned to stories of identity and heritage. In our Fulani Nomadism documentary, we explored migration, cattle routes, art, identity, and the intricate balance between culture and environment. So part 2 carried us deeper further into the Fulani world. That's the part 2 of the documentary, a story of adaptation in a rapidly modernizing Africa. So I asked Dr. Oladiji now, what do you think about the cultural and environmental balance explored in the Fulani episode? So the Fulani, I don't want to see them as the ones that they say cause problems. I was exploring who they are, what they really are, where did they come from, what is their cultural heritage, what do they contribute? Because I know that they are good with milk, and a lot of people take milk. Yeah. And now we even see processed milk. Why is that industry not even thriving? So I looked at the Fulani man generally, apart from whatever it is they've been accused of doing, I left that aside. But, I talked to some scholars and they told us about how the average Fulani man is actually a nice, kind person. Yeah. So what do you know about them?
Okay, so for me, I'll speak around, the economic impacts of the Fulani herdsmen and the practice of nomadism. So, over the years, over the decades, over the century, we see how these Fulani herdsmen contribute to our agricultural output.
Yes.
In terms of animal, husbandry, in terms of, farming, and, in terms of cattle rearing, where we, get our milk. So, but we see that what's happening now is like urbanization is actually changing, the attributes that we should be getting from this, practice that has been in existence for decades. And it's also affecting, us as a country. It's affecting food security. And so there's no how you want to talk about food security that you will not talk about the Fulanis, because they are one of the strong players within that space, farming, cattle rearing, and all of that. So I think that urbanization should be more inclusive. I know there are certain issues around insecurity around the northeast and the northern part of the country, but I also feel that there should be a balance, to check between the insecurity and then as well as the opportunities and the advantage that this nomadism practice brings to us as a country. So for me as a person, I think that we need to encourage these Fulanis to continue to, to do what they do, so that we all can continue to get food on our table.
Exactly.
And of course, you realize that for the past few years, there have been a lot inflation in terms of cost of staple foods, even processed foods as well, because some of these farming outputs are what are being converted into processed food. your combi. Some of them are imported, yeah, but you have some that are locally manufactured.
Manufactured.
So if the Fulani herdsmen do not really have the enabling environment to do what they do, then at the end of the day, you and I will be affected in terms of having to pay higher to get these staple foods on our table.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. So let's look at global cities and urban wonders. So next, we visited Zayed National Museum, an architectural expression of heritage and innovation. Our feature, 10 Cities, Endless Stories, transported us around the world, celebrating the beauty, culture, and unpredictability of the world's most visited cities. And in our documentary, When the Crown Commands, we explored countries where monarchy still defines governance, a blend of history, environment, and political identity. Now, let's go back to the feature 10 Cities, Endless Stories. It transported us around the world celebrating the beauty, culture, and unpredictability of the world's most visited cities. Nigeria was not included, which shows we have a long way to go. So how important is cultural architecture in Africa's future cities? Because if we make it a home, a place that someone can visit and be comfortable, then people will come. But Nigeria is not even among the top 20 cities to visit in the world. How can we make Nigeria home to people abroad?
Thank you. Okay, so that question also brings me to ask you one question. Amongst the top 10 cities that were visited, do you have Dubai, UAE amongst those countries? Amongst the top 10?
Dubai was not there.
Okay, I'm surprised. Okay, so because the reason why I asked is there are two factors that actually drive, and this is trade and tourism.
Okay.
And so for tourism, what drives people to want to come to your country as a tourist center? It's the efficacy of your infrastructure, the efficacy and the efficiency of your infrastructures.
Important.
Your architectural landscapes. So when you go to countries like France, you go to countries like even Dubai, UAE, what interests you? Why do you want to go there? Because of the kind of structures you find, because of the kind of landscapes, architectural landscapes, strong infrastructures, and those are the things that attract people to actually want to visit a certain country, and also the strength of its trade activities. So people go to some of these countries because they feel that even if I go there for tourism, I'm also going to be able to buy some commodities and come back to my country and sell and make a lot of profits. And so those are some of the two factors that drives people's interest in visiting some of these top countries that you might have listed in your documentary. So for us as a country, number one, that we as a private sector leader always advocate to the government is to continue to ensure that they work and make sure that the ease of doing business in Nigeria is impressive. If we have ease of doing business is impressive, then people will be willing to come over, do business, trade, and probably go back to wherever they are coming from. And also a need for us to develop a very strong infrastructure for our country. When you say infrastructure, it's not just about building. For example, power. Our power, we don't even have power in Nigeria. So what people are doing now is everybody is now resorting to renewable energy because that's the only sustainable power you can get. You can't rely on the distribution companies to supply power because it's not steady and it's not stable. So once we have all of this in terms of infrastructure, the power, road networks, road infrastructure, and of course that is going to to a large extent attract people to want to visit. And then hopefully maybe in the next few years, Nigeria will also move forward, maybe top 20 or maybe top 10 in the next future.
All right, thank you so much. So we move to humanity, hope, and creative spaces. 2025 was also a year of exhibitions, creativity, and humanitarian impact. We documented the Chris Oyakhilome Foundation International's humanitarian mission to Benue State, North Central Nigeria, where flood-affected communities found relief, food, shelter, and compassion. Let's see this report. Benue State, Nigeria has an estimated 500,182 internally displaced persons due to the long-standing farmers-herders conflict, according to an International Organization for Migration (DTM) report from June 2024. These IDPs face humanitarian challenges like inadequate shelter, food and water insecurity, and poor health services, often living in crowded camps or host communities. The Benue State government is working with partners to provide long-term solutions through initiatives like relocating IDPs to cluster homes with a focus on security, food, health, and education. With this in view, there was excitement in the air and a great sense of anticipation as the Chris Oyakhilome Foundation International brought the relief mission to Benue State. This mission is more than a response. It is a move of love that will bring lasting change.
Many families will be rich. Maybe I should just give you what we have in this IDP camp. We were told by the camp manager that we have the profile number of persons in this IDP camp, 5,364, as at when they were profiled. But after a month, some persons joined, and in this place we have over 6,237 person in this very IDP camp.
The need. Many children are out of school, families have limited access to healthcare, and food insecurity has deepened in areas once known for abundance. Flooding and poor infrastructure also worsen living conditions, making it difficult for vulnerable communities to rebuild their lives. Why the Chris Oyakhilome Foundation International Coffee matters. This is where the Chris Oyakhilome Foundation International made the difference. Coffee didn't bring just relief materials, but hope and restoration. Through emergency aid, medical support, educational initiatives, and empowerment programs, the foundation addressed both immediate needs and long-term recovery. It is more than charity. It is a movement of love and compassion that restores dignity, strengthens families, and rebuilding communities.
We're very high. We're here for a Hope Relief Mission. We just want to see do some courtesy visits to some government officials first, and then later on we'll go to the IDP camp, where we'll have, I think, over 5,000 people to attend to, and also there'll be some what are going to be shared tonight. So it's a Hope Relief Mission. It's also an opportunity to share God's word with those of them in the camp, and because we believe that that's the first solution. While you're ministering to their needs, you're also thinking about their spiritual well-being, their salvation, and all of that. So it's a message of hope and faith. from our dear man of God. Like you know, Pastor Chris is his heart is for the people, and Christian Women Foundation International is there to really help them at the point of their needs. And thank God for Pastor for what he's doing. The message is very simple. We're just starting. This will be the first of several, and we believe that through this mission there'll be lots of there'll be hope delivered, and there'll be faith as well. Like I said, we're not just sharing materials that will be shared, we're also going to minister to their very spiritual needs. So I will tell those in Benue who are the victims of this unfortunate situation that there is hope, and as far as there is God, and we are there as God's partners, there's a solution already. Thank you.
Kofi's presence in Benue shows that when faith, resources, and love come together, lives can be transformed and a brighter future can emerge even from the darkest of challenges.
The Fulanis came and attacked us and burned some of us. We were fortunate to escape and they took us to the IDP camp. Right now, we are very, very grateful and we want to thank Pastor Chris for all the things he has been doing for me, particularly for the healing I have gotten through his message.
I want to thank Christ Embassy for coming to the IDP. We were attacked by Fulani and they killed some of our brothers. They all ran and came to the IDP camp, and we want to thank Christ Embassy for coming to our rescue and also thanking them for all the packages they gave us. We opened those packages and we saw food items, clothes and other things. We did not have all those things before, so we really thank Christ Embassy showing this kind of love to us. May God bless and replenish where the money is coming from.
Moving on, we celebrated Blue Skies Day, advocating for clean air and the responsibility we all share to protect our atmosphere. And at the year's end, the exhibition experience took us through innovation, future of furniture design, safety equipment, and renewable energy, which you've talked about, and of course, artworks, showing how creativity can shape the future. So looking at everything we have documented in 2025, what gives you hope for the future?
Okay, so for me, what gives me hope for the future is that we are all embracing technology and innovation. And I mean, this makes me feel that the future is brighter. Because if you see the way things were done a few years ago, 10 years, 5 years, and you see the way things are being done now, there is a massive improvement. And of course that has impacted on quality of living for everyone. So what gives me hope for the future, I believe that things are going to improve. We already see that happening. We are now moving from 4G to 5G. Already discussions are on the table for even 6G. We are now moving from not even emerging technologies anymore. The likes of prop tech that we talked about, the likes of artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, all of these are now becoming the order of the day. So there's a lot that is now happening that we used to say in the future. But now is the future. The future has finally arrived. So, yeah, what gives me hope is that things are going to change, are already changing for the better. Ease of living is more better, is getting more improved, and quality of living as well. Renewable energy is also helping in that area. So, smart mobility, reduced combustion, reduced fueling, greener air. So all of these are also impacting on the quality of living, and all of this gives me hope for a better future.
Okay. So that was a year of ideas, innovations, and inspiration. And that brings our 2025 retrospect to a close. We are now in 2026. So 2025 was a year of movement, a year of creativity, a year of breakthroughs and hard lessons. Now, through it all, one message remains clear. The environment is our shared home and our responsibility. Thank you for joining with us. I'll tell you again. Thank you for joining with us through every episode, every story, and every voice that made 2025 unforgettable. Until next time, I am your host, Gimalo Angel Ologoke. This is Space.com, inspiring awareness, inspiring action. Thank you so much, Dr. Oladiji, for doing this with us. Now, for environmental commendations and concerns, follow us on Kingschat, LN247, and Space.com, LN247. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms. Then, for feedback, you can send a mail, picture, or video to ln247.news or info@ln247.news. Now also remember that cleanliness is next to godliness. Therefore, be clean in thoughts, in words, and in deed. Kimalo Angel Ologoke signing out.